Right.
And
Okay.
Tanya, yeah, those are all great points. And I think so many of us think along the line cybersecurity, we're looking externally more so
Mhm.
than internally. And how do we keep the threat actors, the bad people out of the environments and protect that? But with AI, it's a shift. We need to still focus on that, but so much of it is also that internal ethical walls, let's call it the internal security to manage and govern the data, because if that data is accessible, AI can find it and can query it. And you want to make sure that when people are querying using Copilot or some form of AI on internal data, that they're only accessing stuff they should have access to.
Absolutely. Very good point, Tyler. If we actually go to the next slide, that
Mhm.
brings on the next point.
Exactly. And this is talking about, what we just covered here is how, as a business, you're stepping back and looking at what do you need to prepare. This next bit exactly is how are we preparing your users for it, and how are you preparing that data so that it's secure, that people aren't finding the wrong data.
Absolutely. So let me skip the first one, just because we've touched upon the security posture in the Microsoft Cloud. So one thing to understand, Copilot for Microsoft 365 will leverage the data that is on the Microsoft Cloud. So we talked about the increasing the cybersecurity, the outside threats, yes, but what about inside? So all users should not have access to all the information. And even if it's not intentional, how many users have access to their emails on their phones right now, on mobile devices? So that conditional access portion and identifying different groups of users with different security levels will be of the utmost importance before you start anything. Because even though it's not intentional, those users do have access to very sensitive data. Do we want data loss prevention policies there to avoid leakage of that data? Because Microsoft 365 Copilot is like a personal assistant. Whatever keys I have to my data, that AI assistant will have the same keys. So keep that in mind. The other thing we need to actually get ready in terms of checklists is get our employees, our users ready with AI powered tools. One great thing is to get used to prompting. I'm the first to say I'm guilty of thinking like this is still a Google search. Go in your browser, look at Google, type in a few words, get a bunch of results, and then analyze the results on my own. That AI powered tool structure is different. We need to shift our way of thinking about this and understand that there is an interaction. I can ask a question, give it as much details as possible. So prompting, it is a skill, and we need to start practicing it to make that shift happen in our brains. So we can already get our users to use Copilot, formerly called Bing Chat Enterprise, but that free Copilot on the web will actually help us get used to prompting. The last point on this slide is the sensitive business data. As a legal firm, you have to handle sensitive data day in, day out. So cleaning up that data, making sure the structure is accurate. I know that there's a lot of data outside of Microsoft Cloud, and that's okay. But everything that is on your OneDrive, on your SharePoint, in your mailboxes, on Teams, very important to label what is very sensitive to protect this from accidental leakage, not just in intentional outside threats, but internal as well. And data governance. That will also be very important. And you can rely on your IT teams for assistance and for help in structuring that data and establishing your governance strategies.